Hi, my name is DrCherylMeier. I introduced myself, but then the video got interrupted for a second. I'll show you the view. There's something in the bushes right here, but I haven't determined what it is. But it's okay. Interesting. So today we're going to talk about freedom. What I was saying before is that my son was doing this study, and he picked Harriet Tubman, who was freeing people from the Underground Railroad. From slavery through the Underground Railroad. But I was struck by one of the quotes that he chose. He's little, but he chose this quote. And it was in his report, and it said, I could have freed more people if they understood that they were slaves. Something like that. And I kept thinking of the idea of a frog. If you put a frog in boiling water, it'll jump out and free itself. If you put it in warm water, lukewarm water, and get it warmer and warmer and warmer, then it just boils to death. It'll just stay in there. And so there are ways that we are enslaved right now, and we don't realize it. And there's a dragonfly. I kept seeing dragonflies last week. I finally looked up the spiritual meaning of it, but I don't remember. Some kind of spiritual change. Anyway, if you think of the nature of humans, hi, welcome, by the way. I welcome you here to this teaching today, out in nature. We welcome whatever is behind me right now. If you think of the nature of who we are, okay, I have stars on today. And then I put these on. I didn't know if I was meant to. Not meant to, it's my life, but sometimes we can free ourselves. We can free ourselves with things, and sometimes we can burden ourselves down. But what I was going to say is, what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to have souls and live in a body? What does it mean to if you live this whole life and you don't recognize that you have a soul, or you are a soul in a body, and you have a body. I was reflecting on the way up here I was trying to keep my mind just quiet, but I was reflecting on golfers, you know, how they will, like a professional golfer will work, or a professional baseball player, or a gymnast. I was a gymnast for years. I didn't really even think of it like this, but a golfer will sit and perfect his or her swing over and over and over again and get it at the right angle and velocity, or whatever it is, like get it at the right place so that it can hit the ball exactly where they want it to go. And a baseball player will do the same thing. And a basketball player will do the same thing. No wonder boys watch sports. Girls do too, but I'm like, I like watching tennis because I like the dynamics. I feel the energy of the momentum and the power, and reining in your power and directing it. It's like watching chess play out. But regardless of any of that, so a gymnast as well, I learned how to do my back flip. I have it in my last video, the one before the last video. My friend had a trampoline and I went to visit her. I'm like, yes, we're jumping. And but I learned how to do a flip, and you go straight up first, and then you bring your knees up and tuck and flip over. And we were joking because we went skating and she knows how to backwards skate, and I still haven't learned that. Not in childhood, I didn't learn it. And she's like, you just turn around and do this. And she's like, that's like, you know, if you sit on your back flip, you know, just lift your legs up and flip over. But I learned that motion, and then my body gets muscle memory and learns that. And I haven't forgotten it after years. I mean, I still have to dare to do it as well. But besides that, what is your life? I mean it. Why are you here? What, I ask myself this. I don't often ask why, because it can get aggressive. I just look, I go, you know, but it is like, what am I doing here? What, if I can live my life skillfully with nobility, or with love, with an open heart to love and sincerity, what do I value? And what ought I value? Is it just arbitrary, or is there really a way to have a purposeful life? And how do you align yourself with that purpose? And what is the purpose of us being here? You know, you guys know, if you've seen some of my videos, I wear this, which is like, it's the Star of David, but before David used it, it was a symbol, is what I hear. And look, I heard that branches just crack again. There's an arrow going down, and there's an arrow going back up, and there's a cross in the middle. So someone was asking me about it yesterday at the grocery store, the checkout woman, cashier, and I love your necklace. Okay, you know, tell me. I ought to have asked her. Tell me about what you like about it. But we come down here. There's the arrow going down, and then we go back up, and the cross can represent all sorts of things. The 4 elements. The cross was a symbol before Christ died on one. The 4 directions. Oh, I feel the sun on my head. North, south, east, west. Water, air, fire, earth. There's 4 in a foundation, when you set a foundation for a house. Something solid to build your life upon. And the cross is also what they used to hang people, to kill them on. But there's a kind of death that we die to. It's like we can't, what was I focusing on? I was focusing on something. Oh yeah, I was thinking if I focus on this thing not happening, like, I'd really like this package to arrive or something and it's not arriving, and I just keep focusing on that, then I'm not focusing on what's here. I'm not, oh, there's the sun ray again. I'm not, I'm not present to what is here with me. I keep focusing on the lack. If I'm not aware of what I'm enslaved to, then how can I set myself free from it? And it's not to keep focusing on that. It's also to understand the nature of freedom. What does it mean to be free in your life? Like what? Oh, I know the example that came to me last week, I think, or a couple days ago. It's been so freeing to me. This woman, Ali, was talking on YouTube, and she said she used to be a cab driver. I'm telling her story. There's still something right behind me. Do you see the reeds moving right there? I keep hearing branches cracking. It's kind of exciting though. I went a different way up this today. I'll go back to Ali. Hopefully I'll remember our story. I will. So I usually come up that way. That's the way that I came from. And I got this impression in my heart to go around it, go past where I come up here, and come back up. And so, of course, my brain is like, oh, let's see what it is. There's not, it's brambles, so I don't know if I can walk in. Hello? We gotta find what it is, right? So I walked a different way, okay? Maybe we'll go. Maybe there's not really a way in here. I don't want to encroach on it if it's there. This is its house. Oh, do you hear that? Did you see that? It's totally something. What is it? Oh my gosh. It's part of our video now. Let's see. I'll show you the other side. There's just, this is why it's in there. There's not a way to get in. For me. I could crawl down there, but I'm not gonna crawl. See, there's hedges all the way around. All right, we'll go back and just let it be. I love this. I love nature. And I love this, there's something in me. And believe me, it wasn't there before. I mean, it was deep in me before, but it's been trained where it's okay. I'm okay with what happens to me. I mean, I don't want to be unwise. That's what we're learning right now, how to live with wisdom. But I can either trust or not. All right, so I got this impression to come up this way, a different way. And it felt like backwards, like go around and come back up, double back. But what does it matter? I'm on a walk, What does it matter if I walk 4 minutes further and then come back 2 minutes, And I was like, I wonder what this higher, my intuition is higher than my logical brain. It's higher. When you follow your heart and you get to know your heart, it feels so good. If you put your hand on your heart, it like brings love. I know it does. I mean, they found it scientifically, You have a choice. You can live your life in love or shut off your heart and let your mind rule everything and be the stoic king, Instead of the king of cups, of love, of affection, and the queen of hearts, of love. So I came up this different way because I was listening to my intuition. I was quiet on my way up here. I knew I was going to do a teaching, most likely. It was impressed upon me to do so today. And when I live only according to my logical brain, I can only do so much. But if we are souls and I have a higher soul self that is above, that sees things from a higher nature, or there are angels and God and all these beautiful, loving forces that are above time, or see things from a different perspective, from a higher perspective, then when I align myself to love instead of just logic, I live from a higher place. When I act out of stillness and quiet, my actions are more powerful, and they get me to a different place than my logical brain alone would bring me. And so I came up a different way, and I was like, oh, what am I supposed to learn? Am I supposed to learn something to teach today from this? And it was so funny. I got this thought in my inner mind where I get songs sometimes, and I get higher visions, and I get insights. And it was so funny because it was like, what if I just wanted to walk with you for 5 more minutes before you start teaching? Because I have this knowing, for me it's Christ, for you it's whatever, but that I'm with you always, and I'm not alone. And so to me that's Christ. Some people would call it the Holy Spirit, the Christ consciousness, the higher soul's part of you that's connected to the divinity, to God, to the divine love. But it was pleasant, it was sweet, it was super sweet, it was tenderness, it was tender. It's like, what if I just want to walk with you for a couple more minutes? And like hold your hand before you sit down to talk. I was like, all right, let's do that. And so it's sitting in a tender place, even if it's with this part of yourself, the divine masculine in you and the divine feminine in you. What does it mean to learn how to not act according to distorted feminine and distorted masculine? To not act just according to your immediate passions and desires or your ego's wants. Your ego keeps saying, I am this, I am that, I am this. And if we don't learn how to observe all of that and say, who is the real me? Oh, that's why I kept seeing white stones on the way up here. And I was like, am I meant to pick one up and put another thing in my backpack? But in the book of Revelation, the download that John got, I call it the download that St. John got on the island of Patmos, which I got to go to last June for a class. To visit the island and to feel it and be present in that island, and also for this mystic teaching that I went for. And so I went into the cave where John got the book of Revelation, where he saw it, and I definitely saw visions. And this beautiful thing happened there, actually. I can talk about it for a second. Then I'll go back to Ali. Don't forget to stop and smile. One of the most important things I was thinking of on the way up here is just to be sincere. Like, if I suck at everything I do, but I sincerely approach someone and I sincerely tell them, I really like you. Or I'd love to be heard, or I'd love to hear you, or I appreciate you. Even if we suck at something, like if we're not good, that's a clinical term, if we're not good at whatever it is, cooking, relationships, life, I think returning to honesty and returning to sincerity aligns you back with like that perfect golf swing, that learning how to get back in the flow of who you really are. So when I was in Patmos, this man showed up and this woman, the husband and wife, and they had a child. And we had just been talking about this, so we're vibing the same thing, if you want to call it that. Sometimes how you are inside reflects outside, shows up. And so I think it's a great thing that this video showed up in your life. I think you're onto something. You're onto turning a corner of being kind to yourself and being tender and walking in truth and walking in integrity and bringing music back into your life and laughter and spontaneity, because those are all the things that I am. And you're resonating with me right now. Somehow this video came across your path. But somehow, when I was on the island of Patmos, this man and this woman, devout, showed up in the cave to venerate St. John and St. Anna, I think. Anne, the mother of Mary, I think. I can't remember, but there's male energy and there's female energy in the cave. They venerate both. And so this man and this woman came in and they started singing prayers. It was so beautiful. I was crying my eyes out. I was so moved deep in my soul. I heard another branch break. And so he would read the scripture and then she would sing, and then she would start reading and he would sing, And so the man's singing and then the woman's singing, and they're interchanging their parts, but they're both doing it a different way. And then they're holding this child, and like, the child is like what is born out of love, out of union of two energies together. Singing, actually, even of two people together, makes a harmony, which is a third note. There's amazing principles that I'm conveying here that you can think about for days and days. And when you align the feminine and the masculine within yourself in a healthy and balanced and loving way, where they respect each other and treat each other with commitment and honor and deep love, then a third note happens, like you're singing in harmony and you become something else. It's like the Christ is born in Mary. The Christ can be born in you. I'm not describing all of what salvation is. Metanoia is some kind of metamorphosis of your nous. Your inner being, some kind of death is happening. Like I said, the cross is in the middle because and then not even just, look at that on the other side of my necklace. Someone gave this to me, my girlfriend, a friend of mine. It has a note on one side and a bird singing on the other. And I forgot what the words are here. But I have this one as well, again, and I've talked about it in different videos. If you think of the stone in the middle is when our heart has become hardened, it has to become liquefied into water, and then it can become transformed. If you give it up to the divine, the red is on the outside, and you become wine. Which I had a video where I had this heart on my shirt, and I thought it said, "Be mine," because it looked like one of those Smartie hearts that you get for Valentine's, and that's why I bought the shirt, and I never even saw it until I was making the video, that it says, "Be wine." And I was laughing because I'm like, it was really late at night. I was singing "Blackbird Singing in the Dead of Night." So it's that one. But it was so funny because I'm like, be wine. It was so funny because, but then it came to me later, the next day, I think. It impressed upon my heart, my soul, that it's an invitation to be wine, to be something higher. I could say this stone of a person, or how some of the teachings, the ancient teachings say, is that, I can't wait if you guys see coyote eyes or something behind me during this. You'll have to tell me, timestamp it for me in the comments. That we're called to something higher. Some of the ancient teachings teach that we could be like an acorn seed. We have all this potential to be this giant acorn tree, or the mustard seed. If we don't die to ourselves, and you can learn what that is by sincerely asking. It will be brought to you in many different ways. Like, this is one of the ways. But if we don't die to ourselves and let that seed grow and your soul come alive and your heart be alive and awakened and listened to and heard and followed, it's so fun to follow our hearts. It's part of the freedom. Christ says it is for freedom that I have come to set you free. So be free indeed. What does that mean? But back to this, if we just stay this acorn seed, we never become the tree that we're meant to be. We're never planted, and we don't align with our true potential as this magical human being that we are. Magic in the way of only, I encourage you, to use your powers for good. Because when you misuse powers that are granted to you, there are a lot of things going on in our world right now, and people kept misusing their power and trying to steal it from other people in sick, sick ways. I hope to God that this is all going to be exposed and brought to the surface. But regardless, is I know in principle and I know in truth that people will not, we don't get away with these things that we're getting away with. You're only robbing yourself. I mean, you're hurting other people. But we do reap what we sow. There's karma. It's in the Holy Scriptures, even that I grew up with. But people don't know the deeper essence and the mystery that's there. But go look it up, find it yourself, because I'm not speaking out of nothing. So I got to see this beautiful interaction of the man and the woman and the child. It spoke deeply to my soul that day. But this week, what's been speaking to me, and I'll wrap this up, is what Ali said. She said she used to be, this woman Ali that I just found on YouTube. She used to be a cab driver. And she had this drunk woman in her car. I think it was late at night. And the woman was on her phone, and she was stopped in the car. And she heard the woman saying in the back, "Oh, I'm being held captive in this cab." But I don't know if she was like at a red light or where. But what Ali was saying, what impressed upon me, it hit me, the right way that day. It not hit me, it turned a light bulb on, aha moment. She's like, the doors were unlocked. I was stopped, the car was stopped, whether it was at a light or wherever it was. This woman could get out at any time, but she didn't realize she could get out. If I'm only looking at the package that's not here, it hasn't arrived yet, and I'm not being present with whoever I have the honor of being present with in that moment. It's like if we're on our phones all the time, instead of being present with someone. I experienced this last night. It was so weird. It's like when someone gets the opportunity to spend time with you and they don't choose to do that's their choice. But that's when I let that energy go, let the people go. We all have different things that are important to attend to, but I won't go into that. If we go back to even this idea of being present with yourself, a lot of my videos are teaching you how to be more present with yourself. If we're running our minds all the time and taking ourselves in obsessive thought, be aware of that. Be present with yourself in that. Don't judge yourself for that. But that's not you necessarily being with yourself. You're being more with yourself when you're aware that these thoughts are going and going and going, and you're giving them more power and more attention. And find the ways you are enslaved. Find the ways you're not in alignment. One other example that was coming to mind that I learned in this class on C.S. Lewis that I took a number of times. Look at the hawk. A vulture. It's some kind of... I forgot this retired man that I met on this path, on this walk one day, told me what that is. Some kind of carrion bird. You'll see what my friend does with the bird around. This definitely is not a bunny, because bunnies don't behave that way. was I? Oh, yes, my class, a C.S. Lewis class. But he was also a football coach, and so he's talking about this one guy that this football player, and the guy landed on his thigh wrong. His name was Joe Theismann, but it was on live TV, I guess, and his bone, I won't show you, his bone popped out of his leg, and and the way that my professor was teaching me that day, he was like, okay, I'll show you my leg again. He didn't go, look, my leg is free. It can go in every direction, Your leg works like this, That's the way it is. And it's not freedom just because it can go any direction. It's not meant to operate in every direction. So, people talk about free love, and it's like, if I had 20 spouses right now, there's quantity, but I don't know about the quality I would have of a relationship with each of those people, Is that really freedom, Or I was thinking of like a toaster. I'm like, I was just laughing because I'm like, what if a toaster, push the toast down instead of up, when you're getting the toast out of a toaster. And it's like, you can't pick it up and put it on your plate. It would just fall on the ground. It would be dirty every time unless you keep your floors really, really clean. And so I know it seems something simple like that, but it's giving thought to, you are worth your best self. When I had children, they woke something beautiful up in me. They woke something up in me more than what I was already giving to myself. Because you learn about your own worth from your childhood, from your parents. And if you automatically stay in that, then you automatically think your worth is this much instead of this beautiful amount. And no matter what people teach you, oh, God loves you, smile, blah, 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 If you don't know about your real worth, and not an inflated sense of worth. Yeah, I'm all of that. I got this, I got that, I got this purse and this car and blah, blah, blah. And I make this much money. I have this many videos and I got 12 likes. Oh my gosh. That's not your worth. That has nothing to do with your worth. Your worth is so, so much, infinitely beyond that. My worth was reflected in whatever that loving being was that said, I want to walk with you a couple more minutes before you teach. I love your presence. I love being with you. And I'm like, I love being with you. That's a reflection of my worth, my real worth. Your worth, I try to convey your worth in each of the songs that I so crappily sing. Like I don't have my voice yet. It's coming. But I'm sincere, and I have heart, and I'm connected to the present in some capacity, and connected to feeling. And so I feel in my songs, sometimes more, sometimes less. And I give that to you. That's my gift to you. And what I was saying is, when I had my children, they woke up something deeper in me of how to love in a deeper capacity. Like, these kids are worth my best self, my best love. They're worth me learning how to be present more, how to stop being afraid of intimacy and running from it and going, what if this, what if that, what if I learn how to love? What if I learn how to actually be present with someone and welcome them in my life? What if I learn how to welcome myself in my life? What if that, instead of looking at all the negatives that can happen, what if I go for this? I laughed so hard at Aaron Dowdy had a video, and he was talking in it just the other day, and he was like, yeah, I kept thinking Tony Robbins would like invite me on the stage with him or in his show or whatever he does, you know, and like his YouTube channel would take off, you know, and I was laughing because it's like, what if, you know, Bono, I don't know, I don't want to say names, I don't know, what if, oh yeah, it was after James Blunt, because I know the producer because of Elliot. I've met him, I don't know him, but, you know, what if James Blunt liked my song and wanted me to sing a song with him? That'd be fine. That'd be fine. I'm not gonna be opposed to it. I don't want to put any kind of limitations. But what if someone wants to come and, you know, buy a house with me and whatever? Like, my house would never get bought unless I said, what if I choose to buy a house for myself? What if I choose to see life a different way and stop waiting for something else to arrive, for me to live this great adventure, this beautiful path that's opened to me if I keep choosing to choose the beautiful and the high and the loving and the kind and the tender and the presence, and stop giving into my fears and let the divine transform me. It has transformed me so much where, yeah, I might have a coyote behind me, but I had to choose, like, during this video, like, am I going to be captive to that, or am I just going to let it play out? Let whatever it is play out. Live or die, you know. I don't know. I don't know if I'll make it home, regardless of a coyote. Immerse yourself from mental slavery. This is Bob Marley again. None but yourself can free your mind. We follow things that we see, things that we've been programmed. Well, there are people that are choosing to follow an evil path that will manipulate good-minded people, and they'll try, and we can try to control things in order to get our power back, or we can listen to your intuition and your higher soul self and God and the divine and align yourself with that, and you're free. You will be free. I'm freed in this path. I can see through because I've developed this intuition deeper and deeper by God's direction, let's call it, to get insights and see things that other people aren't seeing because they're acting in their programmed mind and trying to control things with their programmed mind, and then they get controlled by controlling others. I know part of the purposes of my videos were to help free you. All right, that's enough. Did you see it moving again? Choose love. If you want, it's your choice. But in not choosing, that's a choice. When you remain passive and stay not choosing, you're giving yourself passivity. If I didn't choose to be a good mom, to learn what that is by being present with my kids, then they wouldn't have a good mom. What are you doing with your life? Who are you? I wish you so much love, sincerely. Goodbye. Bye for now.